Hi, I'm Missy with On William Street, and we are here to help you become a more confident quilter, from the piecing to the quilting and everything in between. This week, we are working on block 10 of our online skill builder quilting bee. So this week is all about curves. So this is going to be really great. There's lots of curves to sew. So if you're not as comfortable with curves, it's going to give you lots of good practice. And what we're going to do is start out with our fabric. So we're going to cut them into squares to start, just because that just helps make things a little easier as we're cutting down those curves. For this block, you are going to need 12 5-inch squares of your white. And then of your light green, you will need 4 5-inch squares. And then the same with your other colors. Your dark green, 4 of those 5-inch squares. Yellow, another 4 of the 5-inch squares. And then 4 of the gray as well. Again, 5-inch squares. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to take 4 of your white blocks and you're going to set those aside. Those are not going to be cut at all. So the rest of your pieces, we're going to use our templates and we're going to cut those out. So with the curved portion, the inside portion of your template, you're going to cut those out of your light green, your dark green, and your yellow. And then with the outer portion, that is going to be your white and your gray pieces. So we've gone ahead and already cut these out of the paper, and then we're going to get these traced onto the blocks and cut those. So we're going to line them up on our blocks. Just go ahead and trace that, and you can just use a pencil. They're going to be cut, or any other type of marking pen if you would like to, whatever's handy. And then you're going to go ahead and just cut along that line. Now with our outside piece, again, we're just going to line this right up along the edge and then go ahead and trace this inside curve. And then we can go ahead and get all of those cut out. And we're just going to repeat with all of the blocks. So again, this piece is going to be used for all of the whites and the gray. And then the other piece will be used for the greens and the yellow. Now we're going to go ahead and match up our blocks. So our 2 greens, our light green and our dark green, are going to match up to the white. And then our yellow is going to match up to the gray. Now when I'm doing curves, what I like to do is first I want to fold these over. And I want to give it a nice finger press right here in the center. So again, with the other portion, give it a nice good finger press. And then this is going to help me make sure that I'm lining those center pieces up right where they need to be. I'm going to stick a pin there. I am definitely a pin advocate when it comes to piecing curves. Just makes things a little easier. I'm going to put one on each of the ends. And then again, one in the center of each of those. So when I'm putting that one in, I'm just going to stretch that fabric just a little bit to make sure that that's lining up right where it needs to be. And then stick those pins in. So when we're sewing our curves, you just want to kind of remember to go slow. When we're making sure that we're actually going to do just a scant 1/4 of an inch seam with these. So make it just a little bit smaller than your 1/4 of an inch line. And then just take that pin out, and you're really just going to follow that curve along. Make sure that nothing is tucked underneath. I've got a tuck, so hang on. And then make sure as you're sewing around these, you want to pull out, I can feel a tuck under there, so I want to pull that out a little bit. There we go. So it's nice and flat. You can stretch those fabrics a little bit if you need to help keep them lined up. And then just make sure that you're keeping your edges nice and tight there, because we aren't really planning on trimming these blocks, so you want to keep things nice and tight on those edges. So just kind of holding your finger over that or putting a pin in it will help. And then we have our nice curve. We can go ahead, and when we take this over to the iron, what's going to be easiest if you press it towards the top end of the block, so away from that curve, and it's going to help it lay nice and flat. And then we're going to go ahead and just grab the next one and then just follow those same steps. So we're just going to do that finger press on each of them, put the pins in, and then sew that 1/4 of an inch seam. So just a reminder, we want to match up all of the yellow to the gray, and then we want to match the light green and the dark green to the white outside. Now we are ready to lay out our block. All of our curves are done. So these are going to be our corner blocks. And then our yellow and gray are going to be our centers. And then we're going to alternate the light green and the dark green around the edges. And then just go ahead and sew these into rows, and then sew the 4 rows together. Vlog number 10 is now complete, so you should have had lots of practice with those curves. And check back in a couple of weeks and we'll show you some different quilting ideas that you can use to quilt your curved block. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell so you're reminded every time we upload a new video. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook to see what we're doing, and we will see you next week.